Hey guys, and welcome to the absolute glorious madness of Total War Warhammer, and today you're going to be getting not one, but two battles for the price of one video. It's going to be awesome. We're showcasing the new Greenskin meta. Of course, I'm being sarcastic with that. GROM the Paunch is still the most powerful lord, but full Gobbo dominance is nigh. The time of the Orc is over. The time of the Gobbo is beginning. And I must admit, it's my solemn duty now, my sworn allegiance, my life goal, to completely and utterly rid the world of GROM the Paunch by bringing in the awesome Goblin Great Shaman and forcing everyone to admit that the Goblin Great Shaman is actually far cooler and more badass than GROM the Paunch. So you're going to be seeing the Goblin Great Shaman in two different battles today with full Gobbo builds. Now the Goblin Great Shaman today is coming in with Vindictive Glare as well as Curse of the Bad Moon, which is actually a pretty useful Vortex ability. Really underrated. It lasts for 22 seconds, which is really long. Not only does it do pretty decent damage, not very good armor piercing, but good damage all round, but again, it does lower the speed, armor, and melee defense considerably of any enemy it touches. Now, this Hex only hits enemies, not friendly foes. So if you're about to charge in, pop the Curse of the Bad Moon down on the enemies first, and then you clatter into them or shoot them down. We're also coming in with the Crown of Command, and don't even try it, so he's got plenty of sniping potential, and is disgustingly cheap. Apart from that, you can see our build is very wide. If you take a look at the minimap, we are dominating the battlefield right now, and that's because we have so many goblins. We have a load of Night Goblins, triple gold chevron, 4 units of archers as well, 2 on either flank, and a load of basic goblins in the middle. Of course, once again, triple gold chevron. These are goblins from the Dwarf Goblin Wars. They are veterans of sneaky stabbings, and they're here to bring the pain to the enemy. We do have the 8-peak loons, who have been recently nerfed, but still a very powerful unit, over on the right-hand side. Now in Deep Vanguard, we have triple Squig Hoppers here, one of which is the Regiment Renowned, and on the left-hand side, we have another 2 as well. For my opponent, Mr. Tefel here, he's got a really cool build all round. We have zombie pirate deckhand mobs, so cheap, cheerful chaff holding the front line, and some polearms guarding the flanks. But in the centre is where things get interesting. Not only do we have a couple of bombers, we also come in with the depth guard, which is such a badass rock and roll choice. I love this idea of this elite vampire squad who come together to face their foes in battle. Of course, they have the hunger, which is quite useful for them as well. We have a gunnery right, riding dirty on the Cravo, of course. Count Noculus coming over all the summons, as well as Invocation Heck and Pit of Shades, and double mortars in the back to try to bring the pain to our range potential. There's a couple of gunnery gunnery mob, there we go, handgunners. So many gunneries in this build, but yeah, gunnery mob handgunners in the back, and some scurvy dogs as well. No blooded corpse, sadly, but you know, you can't have everything in an awesome battle. So the goblins will be advanced, and luckily for me, my opponent can only see the basic goblins, and all my night goblins are currently hidden. However, it looks like the scurvy dogs have started to push out, and this is a little bit worrying for me. The rusty arrows and these night goblins don't actually have that much protection. I completely forgot about scurvy dogs, but we're going to be unleashing some shots into the zombie pirate gunnery mob bombers this time, and they're starting to do some pretty nice damage. Night goblin archers are actually really powerful. They come in with 90 models. That's a lot of arrows poking towards the enemy. We do move some night goblins to try to intercept the scurvy dogs, but really good micromanagement here by my opponent. Falls out of our trap and now has a perfect opportunity to bounce in and punish the Night Goblin archers, who are already taking massive damage from the mortars. To counteract this, we have swarmed in. The glorious Night Goblin Squig Hoppers are well and truly gobbling up the enemy. We're shutting down both mortars here. Some scurvy dogs are going to attempt to countercharge us, but we have even more squigs coming in on this flank. And next, we need to start shutting down these handguns. I want to take away all the range potential of my opponent so we can kite him for the rest of our days. Scurvy dogs do manage to dispatch our Night Goblin archers. It looks like both units are fleeing. One's even shattered here and one's fleeing, but they are paying for it quite dearly. We're losing a lot of their own troops. There's a nice summon there as well. More summons are going down in the back to try and protect against the Durkit Squigs, and a lovely Pit of Shades by my opponent, realising, okay, the mortar's already dead. I'm just going to use this time to try to wipe out as many of these pesky Squigs as possible, though some of them are now hopping on top of the handgunners, doing a relatively decent job. At the moment, the Goblin Great Shaman has been rather passive and just kind of hiding out on this flank. You can see the archers are now pushing up, starting to rain down shots as well. But I really need to focus down the bombers, the handgunners, all of this chaff, it can be dealt with in the end game just by swarming it with gobbos. Depth Guard, however, and the Gunnery White could be a bigger problem. We do drop some of our fanatics. They were actually aiming for the Depth Guard, and we do get some pretty nice connection on them. Nothing too crazy damage-wise, but, you know, not bad whatsoever. And that's the first use of our fanatics. You have to be engaged in combat now to charge that up. Dirkit Squigs do manage to start to shut down another one of the unit of handgunners, and Gobbos are well and truly in the back line, shutting down the bombers now. We are going to be focused firing down the Gunnery White with these double Night Goblin archers, who obviously will be doing some nice long-range damage there. The Goblin Great Shaman is taking a little tiny bit of a pounding now, but you can see the big fat curse of the Bad Moon does go down, roasting some of those Death Guard and going through a load of the chaff, just trying to get those kills up. And what a freaking cool animation this as well. Look at it go. It's so disgusting. I absolutely love it. It's very Goblin-esque. Gunnery White has been hit by Don't Even Try It, and now has been heavily sniped down right now by the Night Goblin archers, who are really focused firing it where possible. We're going to follow that up with a Vindictive Glare, an overcast one in fact. Invocation Heck though, looking to stabilise the Gunnery White, who was on below 40 leadership at one point, but alas is the way of crumbling. He still stands firm. More Night Goblins, fresh ones this time, are starting to push around the flank of my opponent. I probably want to drop a unit back just to surround this core and save these Goblins so we can ramrod through with even more troops. But it looks like I'm just trying to get as aggressive as possible and really dive into the heart of this build. Gunnery White looks to be stabilised. His leadership is now up to 2, and that healing coming in really handy. There's still this pesky unit of scurvy dogs, and at this moment I realise my biggest win condition is keeping these Night Goblin archers alive. They have to survive to take down the Depth Guard, the Gunnery White, and Count Noculus, who has been hit there by a Vindictive Glare. Doing him some decent damage, but he's up to 110 kills, not too shabby for an old man on a kind of weird contraption. The AP Gloons are running back. Looks like I'm trying to surround Count Noculus, which isn't a bad idea until we get our Fanatics back. Then we can come over and hopefully deal with the Depth Guard and maybe some of the other chaff here. The archers are falling back. There was quite a lot of pressure coming in by a summon, which we did manage to plug the gap briefly with the Night Goblin Squig Hoppers, but I don't think they're going to last too long. Luckily, some Goblins and Night Goblins are now freed up to go on babysitting duty and protect the Night Goblin archers. The Goblin Great Shaman has to be a little bit careful. He's been focused down by Count Noculus, so I really need to be keeping him moving a little bit more. A little bit stagnant at the moment, and that could be his downfall if he takes a heavy shot to the face. Some of the Fanatics are desperately trying to catch up with the Death Guard. We catch a couple of models, but unfortunately that swing was nowhere near quite so powerful. And hey, even in a battle without dwarfs, technically we do get some in there as well. They are there on the end of those Wrecking Balls. Goblins doing a decent job, once again pushing though into the back onto the bombers, and the Death Guard are a little bit surrounded here, down to 28 models and completely surrounded. Hopefully we will be able to drag them down, particularly with the war active. It actually juices up my triple gold Goblins to 51 melee attack. That is really no joke whatsoever. Chevroning up your Goblins can make them quite powerful when combined with the war. Scurvy Dogs continue to try to pressure. We're actually going to be countering them with our own wolf here. Goblin Great Shaman trying to go into combat with them with the help of these Goblins, and we should be able to stabilise Night Goblin archers, at least fingers crossed for me, as this Gunnery White is starting to approach, and we're trying to rain the shots down on him now. Big Fat Vindictive Glare is going to go in once again, doing some really nice damage to the White, who does respond there by roasting many a Night Goblin archer, but he himself may be on death's door. Don't Even Try It once again popped. That basically is kind of like a knockoff Spirit Leech. Does some pretty decent work, and it looks like this time maybe we will finally get our prize. Night Goblin Squig Hoppers do manage to hop on top of the Depth Guard here, really starting to struggle. They've done a fantastic job though. 151 kills is certainly no joke, even against Gobbos, and they're just about stabilising for now, but are very low HP wise. Goblins holding firm in the back are really helping to deal with a lot of the pole arms, and it looks like we do get an Invocation Heck go down on the Depth Guard. That could be pretty key there. It looks like the Gunnery White unfortunately is now just a shell on the ground. We got a little bit unfortunate here. The volley came in just as we stopped to do a cast, and I didn't cancel it in time, so Count Noculus does get a really lovely hit on us right now, and we're starting to struggle. The Vindictive Glares aren't really piercing the thick hide of Count Noculus, who is really giving a good go to snipe out that Goblin Great Shaman, but he's going to be running up and down, just trying to avoid, and Count Noculus basically stands alone. But balance of power is very much against us. If you take a little look at the top of the board here, it is not looking good whatsoever, and Count Noculus rips a shot down the flank of these Night Goblins, doing some pretty impressive work. If we can catch up here, hopefully with a combination of all these Gobbos, we can finally rid the world of these Depth Guard, who are looking so beat up and so low they are starting to crumble. Again, my big win condition is still on these Night Goblin archers. Vindictive Glare once again does manage to clip Count Noculus. I am starting to run out of Winds of Magic, however, and the Night Goblin archers are going to be absolutely crucial if we want to stand a chance. My opponent is continuing to try to snipe down the Goblin Great Shaman, which I think is a tiny bit of a mistake. He should probably be shooting the Night Goblin Archers at the moment, because 1 or 2 good shots will be able to break them, and it looks like he does do just that. Switching his attention. He had a premonition of me saying this in the future, and is going to be focusing them down, and the balance power is looking quite poor for us, but we do manage to kill all of the depth guard. It is 1 against 421, but that 1 is mighty. Plus, he still has some tricks up his sleeves. Yes, he has Invocation Heck, but he also has another spell, which is, of course, is the Zombie Summon. The Zombie Summon on the back here on these archers will turn this game completely around, because these goblins will instantly break if my lord dies, or if the archers do get shut down. They're simply not kind of gobbo enough to take on such a mighty beast. Balance power, though, has been drawn at level. We come in with a Vindictive Glare, which does start to push Count Noctis to the crumbling roads. But he's standing firm just for now as we fall back once again with the Goblin Great Shaman and attempt to juke back and forth as much as possible. Archers still have decent amounts of ammunition. We got 6 volleys here and 6 on the other unit, but it is starting to get a little bit danger low. And oh no, you can see the summon of the pirate deckhand mobs have been birthed into the world, and we're legging it. We're out of here. We are straight running with the Night Goblin Archers. Likewise, when Count Noctis gets low, zombie pirate deckhand mobs will spawn around him as they fall out of this horrible contraption, and that's a big problem. A lot of my gobbos actually run for their lives. Some do rally, but a lot of them are breaking and could well shatter. They've broken a few times at the moment. We're going to be splitting up our archers into 2 different contingents here. 1 to kite, 1 to shoot Count Noctis, and hopefully we can wait out the deckhand mobs. Big Vindictive Glare does go down, catching Count Noctis on the face, but once again we were sitting still while that was going on, and we take a massive shot. We definitely would have broken, but luckily I popped the Crown of Command, making us unbreakable, at least for a short duration. Balance power once again is in my opponent's favour as the goblins run back into the deep one last time. Crown of Command does unfortunately wear off, and the Goblin Great Shaman is running at just 385 HP. Luckily he is too far for Count Noctis to shoot, which is a massive boon to me. My Goblin Archers are using up the remainder of their ammunition to try to pierce the hide of Count Noctis and drag him down from his fell contraption, but all of my goblins are starting to waver. Just this unit of 61 still going strong, up to a rather impressive 116 kills. The Goblin Great Shaman does rally. Balance of power for the first time in this game floods in my direction, and it shall be a victory for not only the Greenskins, but all Gobbo kind. No longer shall we be repressed by the Orcs or GROM, who is no true gobbo in my books. The Night Goblin Great Shaman shall seal victory. An awesome game. We will go through all the damage dealt and damage value, but remember guys, this is a double cast. You're getting 2 videos today, or 2 battles I should say, not just 1, so hold your horses there. But yeah, very well played to Mr. Tefel. He actually had a really good, I think, another replay on the channel recently. Might even be the last one? I think it was like 2 videos ago. It gets a bit confusing. I'm doing a lot of these videos in advance. And by this point, hopefully, we've got a little patch out, which I'm rather excited for. So I'm trying to go through a few replays before, you know, that happens, because sometimes it does indeed mess up the replays. Well played, though, to Mr. Tefel. Honestly, a fantastic job, champ. Count Noctis managed to get 2,565 damage value. 281 kills. That's some very impressive stuff. Gunner White got 700 damage value. Not bad himself. Not bad whatsoever. He is a constant menace, and my opponent did a really good job of keeping Count Noctis out of danger for as long as possible, but eventually the swarm's going to get you. Death Guard got a solid 1,000 damage value. Not bad considering against the low-cost troops they were up against. 184 kills is very good work, and they were needed to clear out the chaff. Likewise, 1 unit of bombers performed really well, just shy of 800 damage value. The other one, though, faltering quite a bit, unfortunately, to the mass hordes of the gobbos. Likewise, the handgunners didn't perform particularly amazing. 1 unit got 500 damage value, but the others got shut down. Likewise, it did to the mortars in the early stages. Beautiful play with the Scurvy Dogs, however, to shut down one side of my archers. Imagine if we had all 4 archers for the course of that game. We would have fared so much better. But Scurvy Dogs, one of the most frustrating and amazing units in the battle, on the battlefield in general, because they're basically unbreakable skirmish unit. That is absolutely baller. That's just what you want. As for myself, the glorious Goblin Great Shaman got 2,280 damage value. A lovely curse of the bad moon, but that really did come this time from Vindictive Glare. It has been nerfed, but still a very powerful spell nonetheless. He got in there and did some good work. And he's disgustingly cheap as well, coming in on his little wolf there. And come on, it's way cooler than GROM. I don't think anyone can ever argue with that. Good job, Goblin Great Shaman. You did fantastic in this battle. As for the goblins, look at this. 1.2k damage value on a unit of goblins. And can we just appreciate the kills? 116 115, 156, 80, 96. These are not numbers goblins normally do. Now, they were triple gold chevron, but they're still incredibly cheap, despite those chevrons being placed on them. 548 damage value on this one, 600 and 576. Night Goblins faring a little bit worse across the board, unfortunately, although the 8 peak loons got an impressive 940 damage value. As for archers, these two on the left performed really well. 670 and 934 damage value, they kind of carried. And these other two units fared far worse. Unfortunately, the squigs didn't really pay for themselves, but were still very crucial in winning this battle, at least in my opinion, because they finished off the mortars, which were a hard counter to the archers, and shut down a load of the range potential, making my opponent's build a lot more kind of static, and we could overwhelm it. So I hope you guys enjoyed that first battle. There's one more to come, but hey, it's the midway point. Why not drop a little like if you've liked what you've seen so far? Subscribe as well to the channel. I mean, why would you not watch and not be subscribed? It makes no sense. You get even more content, even more cool stuff, and you help support the channel. So yes, got in that little sneaky advertisement for my channel in the midway stage here. But up next, you can see we have a load of glorious games on replay, but this next one shall be an all GOBBO game once more. I've done quite a few recently, actually, and this time it is going to be up against a Big Yoshi, aka Flying Taco, the meme meister himself, and boy, oh boy, does he bring an absolutely, there's no way of putting this, a sexy build. You don't say sexy too much when it comes to Warhammer or Total War Warhammer, but Flying Taco, he knows a sexy build when he sees one. Our build is slightly different as well. We're going to be coming up, though, up against Nagarife, an Alephanar themed build with Shadow Walkers, Sword Masters of Hoeth, and a bucket ton of cavalry. So let's delve into this. Very excited indeed. We do have some Night Goblins once again, triple gold chevron. This time they're making up our main battle line in the front, going very wide all the way along. Once again with the 8 peak loons over on that right hand flank. We do have Night Goblin archers as well as the rusty arrows, so 2 on the right hand side and once again 2 on the left. Not so many squigs this time. We have unfortunately sacrificed a few of them. We have 1 squig on the left, Night Goblin squig hoppers, and 1 on the right hiding in the trees. But the reason we sacrificed the other 2 is we're up against high elves. And what do high elves have? Very expensive units, very squishy units, and tightly packed formations. So we are going to be bringing the double Doom Diver Catapult to bring the pain to the enemy from afar. Looking in the trees alongside the Night Goblin Squig Hopper allies, once again, is going to be the Goblin Great Shaman, coming in, unfortunately, this time with all of the spells, because yes, I'm a Muppet as well as a duck, and I completely forgot to take off all of the spells. Look at that little wolf howling. He knows I made an absolute howler there. So we do have Don't Even Try It, Crown of Command, Arcane Conduit, and all of the spells you can bring to the table. I'm mainly going to be focusing on Vindictive Glare as well as Curse of the Bad Moon, because it's just so freaking badass. But at least we have, you know, a bit of flexibility here, and it did make my build a 0 gold build, so hey, I'm taking it as a tactical win. For my opponent, he has gone for such a Chad build. As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, this is so badass. He has a double Illyrian Reavers on the left-hand flank, double on the right, and their main idea is to hold back the tide and buy time for the Shadow Walkers to kill all the Greenskin kind of big, scary targets. Because apart from Blackhawks, Greenskins really don't have much armor, so Shadow Walkers is going to be very good in this matchup. And then you use the Sword Masters to cleave your way through the Blackhawks, and at the end of the day, they can kill basically all the infantry. So if you can deal with all of the pesky Spider Rider archers and so forth that you normally see in this matchup with the Shadow Walkers, Sword Masters will be able to carry. So it is a big meme build, but at the same time, it's certainly got some fangs on it. I like it quite a bit. We have Major Life down here with Awakening Wood and Earthblood, and of course, it is not a true Nagarife build unless your opponent does indeed bring Alephanar, and he's going to be coming in very good, fortunately for us, up against our Doom Diver Catapults, but you know, we should hopefully be able to get some damage in, and at the end of the day, he is one elf, we are many a mighty gobbo, in fact, coming in with, I think, like, roughly triple what my opponent has, which is pretty damn cool stuff. We do have the cheeky little decoy come down by my opponent, attempting to confuse us. Doom Diver Catapults were shooting into Alephanar briefly, but I'm going to be switching my targets onto the Reavers, who are getting a lovely cheeky little Earthblood right now. They're engaging with some Night Goblins, but we're triple gold chevron, so we can hold the line a little bit better. Limb Reavers do get forced back, taking basically no damage and dishing out a ton, but the Doom Divers are now focus firing them down. I really need to take away the enemy cavalry if I want any chance to succeed them, because a lot of my damage output to those Sword Masters is going to come in the form of archers, Doom Diver Catapults, as well as my Shaman. On the right-hand flank, you can see Illyrian Reavers are starting to swarm in, looking to get into the back line and shut down my Doom Divers, but the trap shall be sprung. We have the Night Goblin Squig Hoppers. Now, you may be thinking, what can one little unit of Night Goblin Squig Hoppers do against double Illyrian Reavers? The answer is everything. You can see the Reavers trying to fall, but in comes the Curse of the Bad Moon, lowering all of the stats of these Reavers. We're now getting butchered by the Night Goblins, doing some lovely damage as well. Look at that, both these units down to half health, and they're really struggling to escape. They do have that Hex on them, which lasts so long, they're poisoned and really getting slaughtered. A fantastic little cast on the left-hand side for us. Night Goblins are getting a little aggressive, just pushing away the Shadow Walkers. I don't want them near my Doom Diver catapults or other key targets like my archers. And Taco, despite taking massive damage, still gets into the back line. Really a top-tier micro player there. Goblin Great Shaman, though, is going to counter-charge, and we simply outnumber the Reavers now that that second unit also got forced off just about there by the Squigs. On the left-hand side, we do manage to catch the Reavers once more with some Night Goblin Squig Hopper play. One unit of Reavers down, one to go. That pesky Major Life, though, is going to be running away from our Night Goblins and escaping once more. You can see our beautiful Gobbos flying through the sky, dreaming of a better life, and they're going to charge down and completely miss the Reavers, it seems. Nope, they kill one Reaver between three of them. Well, one dead Elf for three dead Gobbos. That's good odds for the numbers we have to date. Shadow Walkers are starting to penetrate to these poor little Night Goblins who aren't having the best of days trying to chase Alephanar. But hey, if you're shooting Goblins, not shooting my Doom Divers or my Lord or my Archers, so I'm a happy ducky indeed. We do manage to finally shatter off those Reavers. The Night Goblin Squig Hoppers did a good job up to 30 kills. And the Goblin Grey Shaman, been impressed so far with his curse. It certainly did some good work. My opponent is going to start pushing forward now, realising we have the range advantage with the Doom Divers, who are rolling a little bit further forward just to try and apply some pressure to these pesky Swordmasters. Over on this flank, looks like the Reavers do manage to rally, but it's kind of the end of days for them. They get a lovely counter-charge into the Night Goblin Squig Hoppers, but we're just far too healthy at this point, and the Reavers aren't really designed to stick in combat too long. I like the idea of them in this build, though, to support the Shadow Walkers, but we've killed the enemy cavalry, which was our #1 target. Our formation right now looks absolutely horrendous, and that's because I was trying to micro everything all over the place to try and force my opponent away. Taco was really kind of asking a lot of questions of me, with Shadow Walkers kind of floating around one flank, Alephanar pressuring this side. We have Swordmasters as well, starting to rotate around either way. And you can see the Swordmasters of trying to get up into these trees so they can do a lovely little flank overload. And if they can engage in melee, we are certainly doomed. So I'm pulling over my archers, looking to try and harass them where possible, and moving my Goblin Great Shaman as well as Night Goblin Squig Hoppers once again back in the trees, looking to ambush the Swordmasters. Doom Diver catapults are going in at the moment. Let's see what they're going for. They're going for the long-range Kobe down the flank of the Swordmasters. This is going to be some nice damage if they do connect, but kills one model again. But I suppose those are the odds we're going for at the moment. Shadow Walkers are a big problem. I don't want them anywhere near my archers, so I'm going to continue to push out this battle line as much as possible, because the archers are a good counter to the Swordmasters, but of course the Shadow Walkers could indeed get in there. Some lovely 360 no-scoping is coming in by Alephanar at the moment. Doom Diver Catapult is down to just one piece there, which is not good whatsoever. Lovely Awakening Wood does go down around Alephanar. I believe this is actually the decoy of Alephanar we've been caught up on. Those Night Goblins not having a good day. Major Life up to 26 kills. Very impressive stuff. We'll continue to screen out where possible to 8-peak loons floating out to this side, knowing that there's Reavers here, or Silver Helms I should say, and knowing that there's Swordmasters. I'm really looking to pound them down where possible, and it looks like Swordmasters think they're hidden, but alas, you cannot hide from the keen eyes of the mighty Gobbos, and we are continuing to rain shots in. Swordmasters taking quite a pounding at the moment. 8-peak loons are engaged in combat. We're going to counter-charge once again with the Night Goblin Squig Hoppers, looking to overwhelm the Silver Helms and chase them back. The 8-peak loons, though, are starting to spin, and they're going to do some really nice damage through the retreating Silver Helms and straight into those Swordmasters. That is a perfect opportunity for us, but Flying Taco, ever the scrapper. Shadow Walkers are starting to butcher the Night Goblin Archers, force them away from this fight, and all of a sudden we could be in big problems with the Swordmasters racking up those kills rather swiftly. But we're going to come in with a nice little Hex to try and just be a bit of a nuisance. Itchy Nuisance does come down, lowering their melee attack to a more respectable level, and the Night Goblin Squig Hoppers are doing a decent job up against them. We're also going to be pulling over Goblins here, who are going to try to look to engage and poke and gouge out the eyes of those elite High Elf warriors. You can see Night Goblins are just chasing away Shadow Walkers, trying to drive them from the battlefield. We do get a War Popped as well, trying to buff up these Gobbos to greater feats of heroism. And on the left-hand side, we're kind of a bit stagnant, but I don't mind at the moment playing the long game. The more ammunition we can milk out of these units, the better for us. Balance power doesn't like us too much. It's slightly against us, despite the fact we've got a wire, and I think pretty decent engagement so far, but Alephanar really is doing a fantastic job sniping out these Doomdiver catapults, which is causing all kinds of problems for us. You can see this one actually doesn't have any artillery pieces left. However, we've got a nice little fight now. Night Goblin archers are pouring shots into the Swordmasters, who are desperately trying to retreat out of range of the Night Goblins, but that's going to be a lot of damage. Alephanar, the decoy, coming in. I'm trying to ignore him where possible and continue to fight further. We do get a nice little Earthblood go down on this flank as well, supporting the fake Alephanar, as well as the Swordmasters of Hoeth. The Shadow Walkers basically still have all their ammunition, and they're doing some really nice focus fire onto the Rusty Arrows now, realising they're one of my big damage dealers. We do overwhelm the Swordmasters in the trees. The Night Goblins will get you eventually, despite how elite you are. You can't fight against ridiculous odds. The Night Goblin archers continue to pepper down, focusing down the Swordmasters, and without the cavalry support anymore to really get into my back line, this is an absolute dream, at least for now. But I mean, we could certainly start to run out of ammunition, and then that would cause big problems. More Gobbos are forcing their way back on this side. It looks like Silverhelms have rallied. We're actually going to charge them with the Night Goblin Square Hoppers, as well as some of the AP Glooms if they can make it there in time. Our boys are wavering, but we're going to get the charge, which is huge. Silverhelms aren't that great if they've been charged themselves. They really are the definition of mid-tier shot cavalry. Load of shots continue to rain down on the Swordmasters in the middle, just making more and more glorious value, as the Doomdiver Catapult does also range down shots. Shadow Walkers, though, going to continue to scrap and pepper down the Night Goblin archers, which is going to be a big problem for me as the game does go on, because even the Goblins, Gold Chevrons, will struggle up against Shadow Walkers in combat. Their melee attack is 40, I believe 42 or 44. It is certainly no joke. Let's have a little look. Yeah, 42. First Vindictive Glare does come in, aiming at Alephanar, and it looks like it fires twice. That's very buggy there, should not do that whatsoever. But it fires twice into Alephanar, but doesn't really scratch him, to be honest. Not doing much damage whatsoever, but I do love the fact it's the Goblin Great Shaman who double Vindictive Glares. It's such a Goblin thing to do. Swordmaster, however, are being finished off here. I think my opponent knows that they're doomed, and we have so much ammunition left at the moment, which is really good news. Doomdiver Catapult is down to just one artillery piece, and one of our archers has indeed been forced back. Over on the left-hand side, Night Goblin Squigs are going to be charging into the Swordmasters, but they're very healthy at the moment, which is pretty scary. Night Goblins and Gobbos trying to come in for a surround, but I don't think it's going to matter. The Swordmasters don't really care about this surround. They're simply going to cleave us asunder, but we have the support of the Rusty Arrows. We have the support of arrows flying from the skies and doing great damage. But likewise, we have a Goblin Great Shaman. And if I know one thing, I know that the Curse of the Bad Moon equals death. Look at the HP drop on the Swordmasters. This is such a deadly combo. The Rusty Arrows sunder their armor, bringing the armor down to a pitiful 30. And the Curse of the Bad Moon doesn't do much AP damage, but does a ridiculous amount to non-armored foes. So when you combine that with the Rusty Arrows, it is such a powerful combo, and it basically just one-shot a unit of Swordmasters of Hoeth. Fantastic little, not deliberate way. I didn't even think about this mid-game. It was only when I was like, how did I do so much damage to them? I realised what I had done. But, you know, accidental genius. It is kind of the duck way. Goblins push forward, more again, Night Goblins as well, and at this point in the battle, I'm feeling pretty damn confident. Yeah, the Shadow Walkers can kite back, but if I come out of my shell now a little bit and push all of them at all times, they're not going to be able to support each other. I needed to get rid of the Swordmasters because before I could do this, as well as the cavalry, otherwise my isolated units of Gobbos simply would not stand a chance. Their strength was in unity, but now I don't care if they die. We can simply force back the Shadow Walkers and buy time to snipe Alephanar. You can see the first Don't Even Try It has been placed on him, and that's going to do some okay damage, or at least I'd like to think so. It looks like it hasn't done actually any damage right now, which, oh no, there you go. So he was resisting quite well. Night Goblin archers are going to start pouring on the fire. Not going to do the most to Alephanar, but still, hey, damage is damage at this point. Balance power is starting to pull in our favour. You can see Shadow Walkers are running for their life. A Vindictive Glare is going to go down onto the Major Life. Once again, double shooting. This Goblin Great Shaman does not play by the rules. He's a sneaky git indeed. And the Mage of Life takes massive damage down to almost breaking, and there she goes. Goblin's doing a good job, and now the Shadow Walkers are trading fire against the new supreme rulers of the range game, the Night Goblin Archers. And once again, I say it loud and proud: down with the GOBBO meta, the GROM meta, up with the Goblin Great Shaman. This is the way forward. Follow me, lads, to glory, and I promise that there will be riches for you. A Pyrrhic victory, super fun game, man. Flying Taco normally beats my ass like every single game we play, so it does feel good to get a victory over him, despite the fact that he was also memeing pretty damn hard. Flying Taco, by the way, for those who don't know, does indeed have a Twitch account. Go follow him on there. He does a load of awesome stuff. Sometimes plays Total War, sometimes plays some old school games, bringing back that nostalgia like Battlefront. I'll try to remember to leave a link down below in the comments so you guys can enjoy his glorious stuff. But yeah, well played to Flying Taco Man. You did the best you could with your build. I think you got kind of counterpicked pretty hard, but maybe the Gobbos caught him off guard. I actually quite like the idea of this Nagarife build. Shadow Walkers to kill skirmish cav and enemy archers, Swordmaster to kill all the infantry, and just a bucket ton of cavalry to protect and cycle charge. It certainly does have some legs on it, but you cannot stop the Goblin Great Shaman. 1,921 damage value. Not quite as much as last time, nowhere near as much Winds of Magic used though, and that Curse of the Bad Moon combined with the Rusty Arrows is like really disgusting actually, and can yeah, do some good damage. So very proud of my boy the Goblin Great Shaman. Now we will go through the damage dealt and damage value of all of these units, but if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a big fat thumbs up, subscribe as well for more Total War Warhammer content into the future. It really does help out the channel way more than you would think. It really helps YouTube kind of push out the content so we can kind of try to drag people into the game of Warhammer and populate it with as many people as possible, because of course there's a little bit of a lull every time your DLC comes out, a load of new people come in, and we've still got quite a few new guys in, which is really exciting. From the recent tournaments, we've had so many new people, but I'd like to, you know, keep that momentum going all the way up into Total War Warhammer 3, where hopefully the game will explode onto the scene. There are, feel free to comment down below as well. I actually have a question for you guys if you've made it this far in the video. I know a lot of people just watch the battles, but if you have, you're awesome. But likewise, do you want to see more double casts? I'm quite happy to do them. I know it's a longer video, so I'm not sure if people like them, but maybe just one or two sprinkled throughout. Do you guys enjoy more battles, or would you like it just to be the normal format of one battle a day? But yeah, give your thoughts as well on the Goblin Great Shaman. Down with the GROM meta, up with the Goblin Great Shaman. That's all I have to say. There are links down below in the description as well to my Patreon if you'd like to support the channel, as well as a link to my Discord where you can submit replays to be cast on the channel, get involved in tournaments and events that I host. I think maybe on the day of release of this, we're doing Death Before Dishonor. If my maths is correct, maybe? I think so. So yeah, you can get involved in tournaments and all that good stuff. But anyway, back to the battle. Goblin Great Shaman, 1.9k damage value. 44 kills, 8,000 damage dealt. Really did a good job. As for the Gobbos, they didn't do too much this time. They're very healthy in the late game, though. You can see the Night Golems performing far better this time than they did in the previous game, so kind of outstripping and proving themselves above these Gobbos. But these ones, unfortunately, weren't triple gold chevroned this time. They did a good job just screening the enemy, and because my opponent's build really relied on those Shadow Walkers, being able to screen with so many troops is so nice, and that's why we had that real spread out formation. 8 Loons once again performed really well, 930 damage value. That one really nice Fanatics cast really helped clear out some of those Swordmasters. And the Archers, they didn't get good value this game, but the Rusty Arrows really helped support, of course, with that curse. Doomdiver Catapults were a mixed bag, 1,000 damage value on one unit, 250 on the other. The Squigs performing okay, 500 damage value and 800, but they're rather key to protecting this back line. As for the Force of Nagarife, Alefnar was a thorn in my side, 1,441 damage value. Not bad whatsoever, basically just taking out the Doomdiver Catapults. Major Life had some nice casts with that Awakening of the Wood, but really was here for the hills to try to keep these elite warriors fighting. Unfortunately, none of them paid for themselves. 162 kills, nothing to you know, scoff at, but only 665 damage value. Unfortunately, the Swordmaster's no match for the martial prowess of the Gobbos. Shadow Walkers, again, couldn't get onto key targets, just shy, or kind of around the 500 damage value mark for all of them, but still good targeting to try to take down my archers, realising they were a big threat, but the cavalry getting shut down was a really big problem, and that happened relatively early on. So guys, hope you enjoyed this one. It was really good fun to cast these games, and until next time, peace, and as always, stay awesome.